So when we study about different movement, different aspects of community and dynamics, you have to understand that all of them together form different societies. So social systems form society, a structured system where different organisms live together, function out. So nuclear societies are those organisms which have a very small group. Then there is a mother, father, and few organisms and few individuals, and they live together, forming a certain society. So these are usually small societies that live in different spaces. These are isolated systems, right? And then there is aggregation of multiple individuals. So aggregation is non-directed movement or non-directed group forming. So they just aggregate, come together to a particular place. That is probably seen most in case of insects, where multiple individuals form a group, ball together, okay, and move out after the particular task is done. Then there is a hierarchical society, as we mentioned in the societal hierarchy. There is patriarchal system, there are matriarchal system. So there are hierarchy system, a dominant, the subordinates, and then multiple individuals. So even in some hierarchical societies, there are usually seen that they form different core zones, and then there is subordinate zones, and then there are territorial marking zones. So few of the core zone is usually inhabited by the young ones or kids. Okay, they usually have the juveniles and weaker ones here, and that is usually dominated or maintained by the subordinates. Then the alpha ones or the leaders are usually found in the peripheries, and they regulate and maintain the entire group. So this is the territorial zonation of particular hierarchical societies. It is also seen that this situation reverses when the reproductive systems or seasons began. So the alphas usually come in and contact with that of the females and flock together, whereas subordinates reverses them role as territorial caretakers. Then there is eusocial society. Eusocial societies are prominently seen in insects such like bees, wasps, and these organisms have very stringent society where a queen is usually controlling the entire society, where the other females usually do not mate. Okay, so there are multiple systems where few of them suppress their reproductive capacities in order to facilitate only one group or one single individual to reproduce for the entire society. Okay, so these eusocial societies usually show highest rate of altruism, okay, where they show reproductive suppression, right? So these are eusocial insects which are pretty common in case of wasps and bees, which are a good example, and also in ants and termites. Then temporary societies or temporary groups which are shown in form of coalitions, which are known in form of coalitions. If you can see, you can observe that multiple dogs form coalitions in case of breeding periods as well as sometimes in foraging periods. So they form coalitions, they form temporary societies for mating, for grouping, and after the task is done, they move out. Okay. The difference between aggregation and temporary societies, aggregation is more in numbers and usually is not directed, whereas temporary societies are more directed, function together for a particular period of time, and then they move out. Even few functioning society take in other members temporarily and then move out after the task is done. Okay. Then there is cooperative breeding societies. Cooperative breeding societies are pretty complex and pretty interesting to understand. Few examples that have cooperating breeding societies are jungle babblers. So there is a group of, let's say, 6 to 7 individuals, and among the 6 to 7 individuals, what they do is there is a core group of 2 individuals, like there is a male and a female. Okay, so there is male and female, they are core members. Okay, so they reproduce and produces let's say 3 to 4 individuals, and these 3 to 4 individuals are nursed and taken care by the other remaining group members. Okay, so there are other, let's say, 3 individuals or 3 individuals, okay, which do not mate. So they do not mate and take care that of the brood that has come out of the core individuals. So this happens until a particular period of maturity. So these individuals are immature individuals which stayed back, we did not disperse. So for example, the first individual group that made, for example, let's say there were 2 jungle babblers, okay, a male and a female. So they formed a particular group. They produced 3 kids, okay, I mean 3 brood or 3 eggs. Now all of them hatched, and altogether the group of is of 5. What will happen is these three will take care of the next brood that comes out of the male and the female. Okay, so they will not disperse out, but they will also not mate with the female or male available. Okay, so what will happen is the available three will take care of the all the other individuals that come out. Okay, so now the group is of 8 to 9 individuals. Now the thing is they'll only take care until they are mature. So this happens for until let's say 2 to 3 years until they attain sexual maturity. Once they attain that, they move out. Okay, they move out and then they find other societies to breed in. So the next individual, so these 3 and 4 individuals that are now young ones, they take care of the next brood that comes out of the male and female. So these cycles continues. Okay, so there is cooperatively breeding societies. They are cooperatively breeding, and once the breeding cycle is done or they attain sexual maturity, they move out in order to avoid inbreeding. Few individuals, if they want to stay back for the particular group, then they have to suppress their reproductive ability. So that is the particular situation in multiple societies. So this is subjected to what is the resource availability, how the next group is aggressive or not. If aggression also plays a particular role, if the next group that they're going to is aggressive enough not to allow them to enter in their group, so they will have to come back. So these kind of interesting situations happens in multiple cooperative breeding societies. You can read more about them in respect to babbler groups. Apart from that, few individuals or few multiple species flock together, group together to form heterospecific assemblages. Heterospecific group formation includes multiple species that mix together for a particular goal. So it could be usually temporary. Okay, so that has a specific function and dismantles after the function is done. Okay, so it is coordinated and controlled by multiple factors, like what is the medium of movement. So it could be by this is prominently shown by birds, it is shown by fishes, and it is shown by mammals in multiple groups. So you have seen mammalian heterospecific formation, group formation in case of savanna. There are multiple groups of wildebeest, there are deers, there are zebras, all of them grouped together in order to function out in a system. And then there are birds, which are also called as heterospecific flocks. They group together to perform multiple cases. And then there is also fishes, they also do the same. So they are usually controlled and coordinated with respect to medium of movement. Which medium they are moving on? Is that air on the land? Is it inside water? So it depends on how aerodynamically is it associated, or what is the drag, and all the physical factors that are associated with that of the movement. Then there is what are the size of the members. Usually heterospecific flocks are usually of the same size, are around the same size. So they are dependent on the sizes, because if they are defending them from the predator, then they should all appear around kind of the similar sizes. So they are associated with the similar sizes, and also sometimes few species include larger individuals in order to form a definitive circle of defense. Okay, so there are multiple situations, multiple scenarios where heterospecific assemblages depend on size of the different members. And apart from that, it also depends on what is the group size. Which group of individual has larger group numbers? Let's say one particular species A has 50, other species B has 35, other species C has 100. Then it depends what is the entire group size which form the flock together. Okay, so the advantages or why they form these groups are to increase the social interaction that will help to interact and avail the particular exchange or communication information. So it could be helping out in a predatory avoidance. Let's say one particular species are good in alarming, so like few species which are working together, so they form social groups. Like one particular species works as a sentinel, so they go up, they guard the particular area, in return they get a foraging benefit. So it's a threefold system where one is socially interacting with one another, or one species interacting with other species. They get social benefits out of each. In the manner of foraging benefits, one species is getting foraging benefits of the other, and one species, the entire group, is getting predatory benefits. So it could be for foraging benefits, it could be for predatory avoidance. That is strength in numbers that they flock together to group around. So these all are the associative systems and different behaviors that are shown by multiple social organisms. They group together, they move together, they function together in a social manner, some of them show altruistic systems where they are entirely dependent or entirely, you know, selfless, and some are cheaters. Some of them compete for the positions, and some are dominant, some are subordinates. And all of this is very interesting in the sense of understanding multiple group formation. So this is the basis or the ideas that flows in order to understand the social structure as well as population movement in mass. So it forms the basis of ecosystem ecology as well as population dynamics, population genetics, as well as social behavior. So this is for the lecture. Thank you.